Hello, and welcome to Local Listens, available weekly on Spotify, Pocket Casts, Anchor, and our YouTube channel. For this week's episode, we have Frank Lenfesty, of bands like Republicans on Welfare, Viveka, and more. We talk about how he got started with certain instruments, and what his father taught him about music. We talk about the tour that got him from Wisconsin to Washington, and the differences between the Wisconsin and Washington scenes. Other bands are mentioned throughout the episode, and you can find links to them in the episode description.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Local Listens, episode number 19. I am Bailey of Bailey Ukulele.
And I'm Shane of Sanatorium Hill, and this week we have...
Frank Lenfesty, the third.
The third?
Yep.
Wow.
That's right. 3 generations of this bullshit.
Well, is that 2 generations of being in punk bands, though?
Yeah, my father was in a band. He was in a couple bands. His last band was Pistofficer, which he fronted, a local band from Wisconsin, Kenosha, Wisconsin. And he was in also other bands, like this band called Bitch Slap, and Birth Effects was his first one.
All right.
So
That's cool.
Yeah. He taught me how to play guitar at like age 12 or whatever.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I got to see Pistofficer once at Punks in the Pier in like, I don't know, 2011, 2012, something like that.
Oh, cool.
So-
Yeah, that was probably a good year.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, my grandpa's he's just a party animal. So
So it runs in the family, though.
yeah, it is. Yeah. I blame them for my
There you go.
alcoholism. No, no, it's my own damn fault. But it helps. At least we have fun.
Yeah.
There you go.
So,
Yeah.
how many bands are you actually in? Because I know Republicans on Welfare from back in Kenosha. You're in Viveka, and also a handful of others.
Yeah, well, this kind of like in and out, a lot of side projects or throughout the years, kind of just. I've been in my buddy Mike Warren. He's like a bird biologist, and he shreds the banjo, and he's been hitchhiking all over country. He used to live in Olympia for 11 years, and he kind of like goes around busking and doing bird research jobs. And we had a little project called Humbug, and one day he was like, "Hey, you want to do some recordings?" And I was like, "Oh, fuck yeah, dude!" Like, so we did like a little project. There's a recording on YouTube. It's like Humbug is the band, and then the album's called Ruts. So like here and there, like there's like side projects and other things. Also, I was in the Roadkill Revival, which it's not anymore, but I still jam with Kelsey Crow and Dan Baker here and there once in a while, just for the hell of it.
Hell yeah.
But other than that, yeah, there's when I go back to town, sometimes we kind of like get old members of my dad's old band, Pistofficer, and we'll play make a tribute set, play that, and so that's kind of like a band, just to do it for like special events and so there's a bunch of stuff kind of like that.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's too many bands for me, man. I applaud you.
Yeah, that's one advice my dad gave me was always, if you stick with one band, then you can focus and get farther with the one band. But
Right.
I didn't take his advice, but I'm a little bit of a slut. So.
And you don't just play guitar in some of these bands, because you play drums and like trumpet as well, right?
Yeah, well, the funny thing about the drums is when I was 16, I got a DUI, and my parents grounded me. And when I went to my dad's house, it was like, oh, well, you got to come to band practice, or, he had a drum set in his basement, so I had a lot of time to beat the shit out of some skins. I can keep a really lame punk beat, maybe like a slow, like a Ramones punk beat.
Ah, gotcha.
All right.
But my first instrument I ever picked up was a trumpet, in like 5th grade. I played out throughout middle school, a couple years in high school, but at my high school, I was playing guitar and hanging out and partying more so than focusing on school. So,
Oh,
I know.
like living
so
the
I,
best
I
years.
could play it. Yeah, making the most of it.
There you go.
But yeah, I could play trumpet okay, but like that's something you kind of have to be conditioned for, like your lips, your embouchure. It's like one song and my lips are just kaput. So
Yeah.
but yeah,
Gotcha.
but other than that, main instruments would be guitar and bass, which I don't really have too much of a preference, but bass is a lot more chill. You kind of just hold down the fort, keep the rhythm, and you can be a little bit drunk, get away with getting a little more drunk on stage.
All
Yep.
right.
I hear that shit.
Makes it fun.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So what
That's
project, well, are there any projects that you currently play bass in?
Viveka is the main one I play bass in. So, and that's kind of like a crust punk. They call it Black and Crust, or I don't know, it's like crust punk band from Olympia. And it's a 4-piece. And then my band from Kenosha, Wisconsin, Republicans and Welfare. I play bass, and then we kind of like do like musical chairs or Chinese fire drill, or how I don't know. We kind of like switch instruments, and I'll switch from guitar to bass because the originally how it happened is because my guitar amp stopped working, because it used to be 2 guitars and then the bass player sang and we all just traded microphones. But yep, I didn't have a guitar amp, so I just switched to bass, and then when the other person was singing, we kind of just switched to bass guitar. So which is kind of nice. It breaks up the set. You kind of get different styles and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Nice.
But
I wish I knew how to play the bass.
it's cool. It's like I feel like it's more conditioning, like just the thicker strings, and you also have to be it's kind of a humbling instrument too. Like if you're more of like the showboater, then obviously guitar, but the bass is, it's the meat and potatoes. So.
Oh yeah.
This is true. I swear, like every music post I see on the internet is like looking for a bass player, looking for a drummer. Like everyone's looking for a rhythm section all the time. So if you're a bass player,
everyone wants to do the Eddie Van Halen guitar thing, which is cool.
Right.
But sometimes we'll lay back and do some jazz bass and
there you go.
Smoke a joint or whatever you do.
Yeah, there you go.
And you mentioned you started playing when you were 12?
Yeah, I started playing trumpet around like 11 in elementary school, which is cool because they used to take me out of class to do trumpet lessons. So I was like, hell yeah, I'll get the fuck out of here. And then around I always wanted to play drums when I was a kid, but my dad always had an acoustic guitar laying around, and so he just kind of taught me the basics, kind of how to teach myself. So I kind of went through that, and then probably like around like 14-ish is when there was one time my dad's Pistofficer practice, the bass player didn't show up, so he's like, hey Frank, you want to come learn some songs? And so I was like, all right, cool. So he like taught me some Pistofficer songs. I played bass. I ended up picking it up pretty quick. So since then I started doing bass, which was pretty cool. And my dad ended up buying me a bass at 14. He's like, if you get a B in this class, I'll buy you a bass. And it's the same bass I got still today. It's like a Fender Precision, but it's a Japanese model. It's been beat up, but it still plays.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I recommend the Precision bass.
I still have my first bass that I got when I was like 7 or 8, and I suck at bass. My old bass teacher, like, he didn't really teach me how to play. He would just be like, oh, so what song do you want to learn? And then I'd tell him a song, and then he'd like write down the tabs for it and give them to me.
he's like, good luck, kid.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like,
that's funny.
I didn't know what scales were until like the fucking choir teacher brought it up in like middle school or some shit.
Oh really?
Just
you're like, oh,
Figaro.
Yeah, just like, So I have a
Do,
bass.
re, mi.
I can still play the Trooper on it.
There you go.
Oh, well,
But
that's pretty good. Pretty good riff.
yeah,
I like that one.
but yeah, actually syncing what I'm playing on a bass to like somebody playing the guitar, I'm like, I don't know fucking scales on this thing. Like,
Yeah, and that's one of the things my dad taught me. It was like he taught me the major scale, the minor scale, and then there's the blues scale. And between those three scales, you just whatever the note or chord the rhythm starts, you can basically use any of those scales to kind of any of those notes on the scale sound good within the rhythm, so you can do a run or a fill.
hell yeah.
Yeah, and you can just wherever it is, you play that fucking scale and rip it up.
I know.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
cool.
But yeah, I've taken a couple lessons, like two guitar lessons, and I learned a shit ton in those two lessons. Like I learned how to figure out whatever note is on the fretboard, like the pattern. It's like whole step, half step, whole step, half step. So like anywhere on the fretboard, you can be like, oh, that's that note, and then that was one lesson. And the other paid lesson I had was something called the cage theory, which is all the chords, the main chords you do on acoustic guitar. That's in those. It's like the three first frets. You got the G chord, the C chord, the D chord, the A chord, and the E chord. All those chords are a shape. So to figure out, like, say an E, not an E sharp, but an F or a G, you just go up the scale, and that suspended note, you just kind of bar it, or you can figure out the 5 different chord shapes up the fretboard. So the D shape, the E shape, and you just go all the way up, and then add a note instead of the suspended note. You like bar it up or press it down on the fret that you go up.
Huh.
I don't know. Yeah, that was
Dang.
another lesson I took. But yeah, that just revolutionized my playing completely. So
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I do recommend getting lessons. It's you always can figure out something new.
Right,
Yeah,
you can
just-
always learn
just-
more.
Yeah, right. That's what's cool about music.
Yeah. Once you like plateau or whatever, it's just like, hey, somebody else teaches you something new and you're like, what the fuck?
Ah,
Oh shit.
for real though.
I didn't know if
Wait,
I
you
just
can
played
do
that
that?
shape upside down, it sounded better.
Ah,
Right.
for real. So, like, cause you were talking about how you've been playing guitar and bass for a really long time. Do you have any like people you look up to that play guitar and bass that like are maybe an influence or that kind of inspire you to play your music?
Yeah. I would say I have more bass references. Well, there's a couple, but Cliff Burton, the first bassist of Metallica, definitely idolized him. He does the pulling teeth anesthesia bass solo or whatever on Kill 'Em All. And that was always kind of cool. And then I guess the next one would be Iron Maiden's bass player Steve Harris. Which
Nice.
he rips it up. Other than that, I guess Matt Freeman and Rancid is a super good bass player.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Can't go wrong with Rancid.
Right? Yeah, I know they're a little poppy and people are mad at them about it, but I don't know. The bass player fucking rips it. Who cares?
Yeah.
He does. It's true.
It's fucking music. If you enjoy it, you enjoy it.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I will gladly blast gangster rap on the way to a punk show.
Yep.
Yeah, get a variety
I
going.
fully agree.
For sure.
So, like, with them being kind of like influences and everything, what would you say some of your like favorite bands are?
I don't know. I kind of go through different waves, I guess. Trying to think what my favorite band now. Iron Maiden's definitely one of my favorite bands. Dead Moon. I got 2 Dead Moon CDs stuck in my car, and I listen to them every day, and still not sick of it. I kind of get stuck on like 1 CD or 2, just good ones, but yeah, Dead Moon's super good. Iron Maiden, can't go wrong. I seen Iron Maiden play at the Tacoma Dome, and that was super cool, super theatric, and it's a pretty cool venue too. It was my first time
I
at
was working
Tacoma
that
Dome.
show. Now that I think about it.
Really?
Yeah, I think
Oh,
I was doing
man.
security or some shit.
Well, didn't like
That was
some
fun.
kid get beat up or something like that?
Yeah, that was crazy. I heard that on the walkie. Somebody was like, "We have someone who's being a disturbance in this area, and we need you to come immediately." And so all these people showed up, and I guess they like took out some kid. Yeah, it was nuts.
That's wild.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Bruce Dickinson, the singer, Iron Man, he like stopped and he's like, "What they did was wrong, and we're gonna play this next song, and it's called Evil That Men Do." Like, kicked in his
I remember that shit.
fucking legend, dude. It's awesome.
Yeah.
But
That
I
was
guess favorite Washington local band would be definitely Generation Decline. They definitely
Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah.
they kill it super hard.
Oh,
Right
always.
on.
Cool. Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything like you're currently working on?
I don't know. Right now, I'm kind of like I haven't been really doing too much creatively. I'm more of like a here you play something and I'll like play a solo to it. Kind of I'm more of like the instrumental is than like writing and like songs and stuff.
All right.
But you know, I just like to be the guy that's like, all right, Frank, fucking hit it or do a solo.
Right.
Like, oh, yeah, I like
Here,
being
you
that
play
guy.
this, and I'll jam out to it for a while.
Right?
see
Yeah, I
how
don't
it
know what to
goes,
sing.
yeah.
Play this.
It's like
Right.
the posts of Gray's birthday party when it's just like Frank will play anywhere.
Oh yeah, there's that. The chair was on. They put the chair on the bonfire, and I sit up there and played a little bit.
Oh, it was
Hell yeah.
it was on the bonfire?
Yeah, they had a bunch of chairs, old wooden chairs they were burning, and they put the chair on top of the bonfire, and then I stood up there and I went to Dan Baker. I was like, play an A chord and then a G and a C, and I just did a little solo while the chair was burning.
That's awesome.
That was awesome.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Nice.
Apparently, I played all night, but I don't really remember most of it. But from what I hear, it was a good time.
One of
Usually how
those
shows go.
nights.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it was one of those good times.
What is it? I saw a quote the other day. It said, "The good times are the ones you can't remember." Sounds about right.
That kind of goes along with like if you remember Woodstock, you weren't there.
Right? Yeah.
So with the bands that you have played in, have any of them like gone on any tours or anything? Because I know Viveka plays a lot of just like local shows. I don't know if they've gone on tours since you've been a part of them.
Yeah, I've only been a member for like a year or two, so I'm not really sure what their history is too much. But pretty much like just Washington shows. I played Seattle at the Hive. It's like a house show. It was really rad. And then the next day we played Chehalis at McFlyers, which I highly recommend going there. Even if there isn't a show, they have really good food and they're super cool. Like there's like a punk guy who owns the bar. So if you ever
Hell yeah.
driving to Chehalis, I would definitely stop there.
Big
Alright.
flyers. Write them down.
Yeah.
But I've only been on like maybe one tour. I want to definitely tour more. But when I was in Kenosha, my band Republicans Welfare, one of the members, my buddy Tim King, he was moving out to Oakland to like live with his girlfriend, and I had the idea. I was like, oh well, we'll just tour you out there, and it'll pay for your gas. So we ended up setting up a little tour to get him out there, which we stopped in Omaha, Nebraska, played with this band called the Scabby Ghouls, which was really cool. And then we stopped in Denver and played, I think it was Bar. And then we shot straight over to California, and we hit up the Pirate Punks in a couple areas in the Cali
Nice.
areas, and they were really super hospitable and set us. But they don't even know who we were, but they still set up shows and got us gas money. And we played in Oroville, Cali, Petaluma. We played, which was cool. That there's this place called the Phoenix Theater. I think it was like pretty cool, big theater. They had like a half pipe in the theater. In the
Whoa.
back room, had like Bradley from Sublime. He's like that's like
Yeah.
the last place he ever played. So there's like
Oh,
kind of
whoa.
like spray paint murals. So that
That's
was cool. And then we went down to San Bernardino, and there was a house show, and they let us stay there. And, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but then I just didn't go home, and half the band flew back, and Tim stayed in Oakland, and me and my girlfriend Justine went up to Washington, and it's been a nice place ever since.
There you go.
So that's how you got out here.
Haha.
Yeah.
Right on.
I went on tour and never went back.
Fuck yeah. Sounds like a pretty successful tour then.
Yeah, it worked out, I guess.
The funny thing is that, like, the story that I remember that Shane always says, and I always laugh about it, is when you were telling me, Shane, that you saw Frank in the bomb shelter, and you were just like, what are you doing here? Like,
yeah.
You were just so confused. Why is Frank here?
Yeah, like...
No one else...
Because I used to go see Republicans on Welfare back in Wisconsin. And then, like...
Right.
I move out here, and Joy books us as, like, at the bomb shelter, and Roadkill Revival was playing. And I was like, oh, okay, like, we've never played with these guys before, and I get there, and one of the first things I see is, like, this person walking around with the fucking Kenosha Corps patch on the back, and I'm like, hell no. What are you doing here?
Wait a minute, I know you.
We're like 3,000 miles away. How are we both here? Yeah, and then fucking
That's hilarious.
Tim was there too, and I was just like, what? Why? Why is this a thing? And then we talked about, like, Denoma for like 20 minutes.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Washington's a good place for Wisconsinites, apparently.
Yeah.
All the Wisconsin people migrate to Washington eventually.
Yeah, it's still really Norse, you know, just like winters aren't as harsh. It's good scenery. It's not flat, you know.
Yeah, I'll take a couple months of rain over like 8 feet of snow overnight any day.
Snow and then 50 below.
And people still walking around in shorts like, oh no, it's not that bad.
Yeah, they're pretty weathered folks over there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
When you have to explain to people that, like, school didn't close in, like, high school unless the weather was, like, 10 below. And people are like, oh, well, that's ridiculous. I'm like, yeah, you tell me that now. I fucking lived this shit.
Right. I was
People
there, bitch.
So,
Hell yeah.
how would you compare, like, the local scene out here to the local scene back in Kenosha?
Honestly, like, they both have really good community roots, and I'm a fan. I've met some really amazing people out here, and there's also a lot of amazing people back in Kenosha. But one thing I would say is out in Washington, it seems like there's a little bit more of a all-age scene, which is pretty cool. And Kenosha used to have pretty big all-age scene, you know, back when I was a kid. And there's like fucking kids everywhere. But yeah, not as many all-age venues. Like out Washington, you got the Charleston, which, you know, they got a badass scene out there, and then you got the bomb shelter in Tacoma. And I think that really helps out with the scene, having, you know, kids coming in and being able to express themselves and all that stuff.
Oh, hell yeah.
Right.
So it's more of a bar scene out there right now, but I mean, eventually, you know, maybe it'll pop back up, or someone will start a all-age venue.
Oh,
But yeah, it's pretty good. Like where I was from, Kenosha, it's kind of a nice tourist spot because it's in between Milwaukee and Chicago. So like, you know, if you got like a date on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, Kenosha's a good spot because everyone goes out every day of the night, no matter if they're working or not. So I've had Robbers Roost came through Kenosha, and you know, it was a Monday night, and we got them about $200, and there wasn't really that many people there, but this place called the Port, they don't charge at the door. They just do it off the till. So you get like 10 people that drink a shit ton. You could still make a band a bunch of money. That's just kind of nice.
True.
Hell yeah.
There you go.
So
awesome.
yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty fun scene out there. Every time we go out there, everyone's always having a good time. But yeah, I guess everywhere you go, you just gotta look hard enough, and you'll find the right people to hang out with and a decent scene.
Oh yeah.
Fuck yeah.
So, having Robert's Roost come through and like throw in a cool show, do you have any stories come to your mind of like the best shows you've ever played?
There's one really cool show I remember. I Days and Days set out like a post like, oh, where should we play next? This is before they got like, super big, and I was just like, Kenosha, and they fucking came out, and it was really cool because there was this tattoo shop, and basically we like rented out the basement of the tattoo shop. It's called The Ditch. Some guy was renting it, and so we got Days and Days to play, and my band, Humbug, well, it's mainly my buddy Mike Warren's band, and I kind of just showed up and played guitar. We ended up recording a bunch of music just so we could have something put out for the show, but it was super cool, and they also enjoyed the Kenosha scene, so Days and Days came back a couple times. One time they came back with Night Gaunts, which they're from New Zealand, and they played the same venue. It was called The Ditch, the tattoo basement. So that was a pretty cool show. Trying to think. There's some good shows. I played probably my last favorite show I played was in Seattle at this venue called the Hive with Viveka. It was pretty cool. Like they were just super active in the pit, and the energy was booming.
Hell yeah.
That was cool.
I do love the Hive. I don't know if it's actually a venue anymore. I remember somebody that lives there posting something about like, I think during a show they had there, like money got stolen, and they're like, we're gonna stop doing shows if this keeps happening. So I don't know if they're still doing shows or not. But the Hive is a fucking awesome venue because you go in and you're like, all right, this is just a house, and then you go into that basement and it's just unfinished, fucking just concrete walls and floors, and you're like, yeah, we're gonna tear this place apart. Let's do it.
Yeah, you don't feel bad being rowdy.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
There's like people puking on the stairs and shit, and people like writing on chalk on the wall, and you're like, yeah, there's a hole in the middle of the stage. Let's do this.
Yeah, that's my style.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun, Shane. When you in Sanatorium Hill playing at the Hive, that was a really good show. Like, I'm thoroughly surprised at how that small little basement provided like the best punk sound.
Yeah, we got to play there a couple times. That last time we played there was with Chad Hates George.
Oh,
that was
really
fucking
nice.
Great. That was like the day before they like sold out Numos.
Yeah, that was the pre-funk.
Yeah, we were just like, all right, cool. We're gonna play this fucking basement, like to like 20 people
with all of your heroes. Yeah, with like all of your heroes in one room.
Yeah, and then the next day you're playing to a sold out like fucking huge venue on the other side of town. Like, all right, yeah, cool. We'll play the smaller
That's
show.
That's badass.
Yeah.
I would prefer to go to a basement show than any ever. Because you can bring your own beer. It's a little more personable, just kind of more relaxed.
You get to like interact with the band, like especially in between songs and shit, and like banter and all that. It's fucking everything's more like intimate.
Yeah, there's a place up in Bremerton called the Quack Shack, and it's basically the same thing. You walk in and it's like it's a buddy of mine. It's his house, and you're like, oh, this is a cool house. And then you walk downstairs in the basement, and there's just like a piece of carpeting, 2 speakers, and a drum kit. And they're like, all right, here we go. Let's set up a show.
Hell
and
yeah.
They just have this like huge basement, and everyone just goes down there to mosh. It's awesome.
Nice.
The world needs more house venues. So, other than music, is there any other hobbies or things that you're into?
I don't know. I like to go hiking a little bit. I mean, I don't go as often as I'd like to, but I mainly just party.
There you go.
But yeah,
that's always a good idea.
Yeah.
You can never go wrong with parties.
Can you consider that a hobby? I don't know.
If you do it frequently enough and you enjoy it enough, then I guess it's a hobby.
Right. There you go. Yeah, I mean, when you go like, when you're on the computers or whatever doing like a personality test, and one of the answers is party animal. I'd say it counts.
Okay, cool.
There you go.
Thank you, random personality quest. Quest?
Quest. No, I think quest is better. We're going on a personality quest.
Here is a song from the record Frank recorded with Humbug, entitled Ruts. Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode of Local Listens. And next week is our 20th episode and the end of Season 1 of Local Listens. So please tune in as we celebrate and talk about all the people we have met so far. We hope you tune in next time and have a great and music-filled week.
Well, that telltale time one cannot see in the dawn and dusky times. In between, it slithers off, becomes cryptic in its meaning. And that tar black gold knobs and degrees of old worn boots and dusty knees, gonna lay my head back down right where I left it. I'm gonna lay my head back down right where I left it. And my heart beats all, it's not a punching bag. Dig up the ruts, listen to my guts. Let's get drunk again. My heart beats all, it's not a punching bag. Dig up the ruts, listen to my guts. Let's get drunk again. Well, come on, dear, won't you take my hand? Well, we might just be living off nothing again. Well, come on, dear, won't you take my hand? Well, we might just be living off nothing again. Well, my heart beats all, it's not a punching bag. Dig up the ruts, listen to my guts. Let's get drunk again. My heart beats all, it's not a punching bag. Dig up the ruts, listen to my guts. Let's get drunk again. Well, let's get drunk again. Well, let's get drunk again.